Take a look at this scene from Season 3, Breaking Bad episode 1 Minute. What does it reveal about Jesse Pinkman?
They nab me. I make a deal to give up the great Heisenberg.
This simple yet powerful scene reveals the core of Jesse Pinkman's character. Jesse is someone who operates in the world like an ignorant and immature child. He might seem to have loyalty at first.
You kill Mr. White, you're gonna have to kill me too.
But ends up biting the hand that feeds him like a rabid dog. So Jesse's story is about a loss of loyalty and brain cells. And like most things in Vince Gilligan's cinematic universe, his loss of brain cells works both on a realistic and a symbolic one. It can be read as a version of the story of Judas. Jesse is two-faced and is rightfully punished for his sin, which is the betrayal of his father figure and shepherd Mr. White.
Why I'm here in the first place?
So let's take a look at why Jesse Pinkman deserved everything that happened to him.
It's to sell you meth.
Jesse is nothing but an ignorant kid at heart. With the Captain Cook license plates and the ridiculous wannabe gangster 2000s persona displayed in the first 2 seasons,
Yo, 148, 3 to the 3 to the 6 to the 9, representing the ABQ. What up, biatch? Leave it at the tone.
just like famous director Quentin Tarantino.
I think probably the most famous line is, "I'm gonna get medieval on your ass."
His ignorance often turns into outright stupidity, like when he tried running from Tuco in his locked compound. Yes, sometimes Jesse shows small signs of intelligence, like getting rid of Reddit users like Gale. But he has a kid's innate stupidity and a lack of prefrontal cortex development, because he fried his brain, and this is why he gets along with children better than adults. In Season 2, episode Peekaboo, he helps this neglected redheaded child by playing a simple game, which ties back to the episode's title, Peekaboo. This game relies on taking advantage of a child's lack of object permanence in order to surprise them. In essence, Jesse is betraying this child's trust by taking advantage of his lack of object permanence. However, Jesse is able to enjoy this game because Vince Gilligan was trying to tell us that Jesse also has the IQ of a child.
Liar.
So Jesse feels connected to kids because his brain is closer to that of a child than that of an adult. But the murder of Andrea's cousin Tomas was caused because of this affinity for children that Jesse has, because he stupidly tries to poison the 2 drug dealers that put Tomas on the street to begin with. While Jesse's decision has good intentions, it was a very rash one. After the sit-down with Gus, Tomas was shot by the drug dealers, likely because it was a move to try to get rid of the loose cannon Jesse. Gus knew that Jesse would react the way he did. If it wasn't for Walt's fatherly love for Jesse and the sturdy bumper of his Pontiac Aztec,
Double kill.
Jesse's story would have ended right then and there, just like Gus had planned. Another good thing that Jesse ruined was his relationship with Jane. At first, the 2 of them act like they're in a corny teen romance. He shows her dumb sketches and makes her breakfast with hairs in it. But pretty soon he refuses her offer to go to rehab.
You could come with me to a meeting.
No.
And smokes meth in front of her, which in turn gets her to relapse. So very quickly, Jesse ruined the innocence of their relationship with his inability to control himself from music. This arc of Jesse finding something good and ruining it for himself and others is repeated over and over throughout the show. Jesse may want to protect children from harm, but he can't even protect himself from his own stupidity. He's essentially a child who never took accountability for his actions.
Wow, great family, Mom.
Why are you like this?
And despite his parents' best effort, never got clean. His parents know he is a hopeless screw-up and rightfully want nothing to do with him. Jesse needs someone to tell him what to do, and so he makes one of the only good decisions, which is to find a great parental figure in Walt. Their dynamic immediately resembles a father-son relationship. Like a good father, Walter tries to teach Jesse a lesson in the power of illusion by using the example of the blowfish.
You are a blowfish. Easy prey for predators, but the blowfish puffs himself up 4 or 5 times larger than normal. And why? So that the other scarier fish are scared off. And that's you. You are a blowfish. But you see, it's just all an illusion.
To understand this story even further, let's take a look at the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. Greene states, the concept of illusion is often used to describe the strategy of creating a perception of power by manipulating how others see you. often by appearing mysterious, concealing your true intentions, and strategically playing to people's perceptions rather than revealing your true self.
You are a blowfish. Say it again.
I'm a blowfish.
Say it like you mean it.
I'm a blowfish!
Blowfish! That's
Yeah!
By appearing big and scary like Walt suggested, allowed them to be more safe because it made their competition fear them. Walt literally calls Jesse his son on multiple occasions.
You're good at a lot of things, son. Look, I'm his father, all right? I can check on my son's well-being.
But son, you need to stop focusing on the darkness behind you.
Now, this is a bit strange because Walt also has his own son, Walter Jr., yet somehow, this relationship with Jesse feels more real and profound. Why is that? The answer is that despite Jesse being the only one to acknowledge Walt's talent, Jesse still disappoints him time and time again, like a real child does.
Jesse is always just... well done.
So it's a realistic relationship because Walt has a low opinion of him, just like most fathers have of their sons in this modern age. Even after all of the times Jesse disappoints Walt, he still tries teaching, encouraging, and saving Jesse. And what does Walter get for this? Jesse stabbing him in the back. Jesse is ungrateful and stupid, but Walt never stops trying. And when Walt does offer his positive affirmations, it seems to fall on deaf ears.
Your meth is good, Jesse. As good as mine.
The father-son dynamic makes it all the more tragic when Jesse betrays Walter's trust. It's like he's killing his own father. For a while, Walter finds a new, more grateful son with Todd. But Todd has a more genuine respect for Walter than Jesse ever does.
We can talk money once I get this right.
All the while, Jesse is digging holes as he is babysat by Gus and kid named Finger. Possessive Jesse can't stand for his rival showing interest in his father Walt. So in this sense, Jesse's arc mirrors a rebellious teen phase, which is also often about a child's lack of respect for the parents who are just trying to look out for their children's best interests. Jesse even acts out the way a snot-nosed teen would, by getting high, eating a bunch of pizza, playing Sonic All-Star Racers, and throwing massive ragers. Or angstily listening to Jane's voicemail on repeat like a teen going through their first breakup.
Hey, if you're trying to sell me something, I've got 4 little words for you. Do not call.
Despite Jesse having been in the drug business longer than Walt, it is clear that Walter is much better at it, while Jesse makes numerous dumb mistakes. Jesse doesn't thrive in the survival of the fittest world because he never listens to Walter's advice. So the world of Breaking Bad finds endless ways to punish Jesse for making stupid, rash decisions. When Walt insists they expand their business with a promising new client, Tuco,
Mr. White, it's too risky.
Just grow some fucking balls!
And Jesse ends up in the hospital because he thought he could outrun a man who just ashed a cigarette out on his tongue. When Walt uses his quick wits to divert Hank's attention away from the RV, it's Jesse who again gets beaten to a pulp because he made a stupid decision, which was failing to shut his own front door. And when Jesse isn't getting beaten up, he has pity parties for things he only has himself to blame. And he is for some reason consumed with guilt for one of the only things he did correctly, which was to make sure Gail would never sing this ever again. While Walt knows his actions are morally necessary,
no matter how it may look, I only had you in my heart.
Jesse refuses to see himself as anything other than the villain. Since he is incapable of believing he can be the good guy, he continues to be, well,
I'm the bad guy.
Jesse just won't let himself stop whining about being the bad guy. So Jesse is punished, time after time, because he is dumb.
Now, opossum makes it sound like he's Irish.
And ungrateful to Walt. Jesse also can't stop himself from getting back into the meth business multiple times. Some say that Walt was the reason why Jesse got involved in the first place, because Walt blackmailed him into cooking with him in the first episode. But this is simply not true, because there is no such thing as blackmail. Jesse went into it willingly. There is a line from Thomas Hobbes' book Leviathan that is key to understanding this concept. Fear and liberty are consistent, as when a man throweth his goods into the sea for fear the ship should sink. He doth it nevertheless very willingly, and may refuse to do it if he will. It is therefore the action of one that was free. Basically, what Hobbes is saying here is that even actions done in duress or fear, like Jesse deciding to cook with Walt for example, are still considered free choices, as the individual, Jesse in this case, could have opted not to do them. Kanye West, great American rapper and philosopher, would agree with Hobbes when he said this in a 2018 interview.
Hear about slavery for 400 years? For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all?
So according to these great minds, all the times that Jesse was so-called forced or manipulated into doing something, he really only has himself to blame. What's really sad is that Walter is actually the one suffering for Jesse's sins. Jesse somehow always remains a thorn in Walter's side, both directly when he rats him out and through chain reactions of Jesse's own stupidity. Look at the situation with Jane. Walt simply wants to expand their business venture.
What does that look like to you? Opportunities.
And Jesse's fat friend Combo gets shot and killed because he was preoccupied with his super big gulp. Jesse rightfully blames himself for never speaking out about his friend's soft drink abuse. But instead of finding a healthy coping mechanism like Walter, Jesse turns to drugs like the junkie loser he is. Every time Jesse experiences tragedy, does something terrible, or blames himself for something, he only has himself to blame for it. But in this scene, he tries to blame it on Walter.
Ever since I met you, everything I have ever cared about is gone. Ruined, turned to shit. Dead ever since I hooked up with the great Heisenberg. Oh, brother.
So after all of these ways Jesse annoys Walt and makes his life harder, the question that many people ask after the series finale is, why does Walt save him in the end? Well, it's because even after everything Jesse has done to him, Walt still loves him and views him as his true son. So this selfless act of saving Jesse was a final effort to teach Jesse the importance of loyalty. So, Jesse is ungrateful for the help from Walt and only can view himself as a villain, dooming himself to commit more bad actions, and gets rightfully punished for it. But thanks to the final betrayal of his father figure, and not forgiving himself for any of his sins, Jesse can be seen as a Judas figure. At times, Jesse isn't quite the image of obvious treachery you'd associate with Judas.
Yeah, Mr. White.
But that makes sense, because the average viewers are stupid. We get a few hints at this Judas connection in the show. Both Jesse and Judas were greedy. Judas sold Jesus out for a measly 30 pieces of silver, and Jesse proves to lust after money in the same way in this scene.
All right, 96 million. 96 to our 3. Fairness-wise, I can...
Jesse, you are now a millionaire, and you're complaining? What world do you live in?
Jesse wears a cap just like Judas wore a fez. If Jesse is Judas and Heisenberg is his father, that makes Jesse the drink and Heisenberg the cup. To better understand this concept, let's take a look at how fellow YouTube scholar Kobe Shinobi examines a similar relationship in the great Japanese fable Dragon Ball Z.
Vegeta's the cup, because he is my father. My son is the drink. I am the cup.
Basically, what Kobe Shinobi is saying here is that Trunks is the drink, and his father Prince Vegeta is the cup. This correlates to Breaking Bad because Jesse could have been the drink to Heisenberg's cup, however, he refuses. Similar to how Judas refused to drink at the Last Supper. But unlike Judas, Jesse's final escape may seem like he's getting the best ending. However, in the 2019 film El Camino, it is confirmed he doesn't end up in heaven, or escapes his suffering, but he goes to an even worse hell, and that is Alaska.
This is Alaska? This is Alaska. You should see it in the wintertime.
Wait, this is the summer? Why is it so cold?
Everyone knows that Alaska is a horrible place that you wouldn't send your worst enemies. I mean, look at how much snow is there. So, what's the deeper meaning in all of this? Why have this symbolic Judas betrayal story at all? Jesse, as this pure evil, ignorant, treacherous, and ungrateful person throughout the story, darkens the bright world that Heisenberg/Walter was trying to build for his family. Evil actions are punished, but good intentions and the desire to be virtuous are in the end rewarded. Jesse brings to mind the maxim, you reap what you sow. In fact, in Breaking Bad, virtue is a clear advantage. So if we want to hold on to our moral goodness, we have to not be like Jesse. We have to not do drugs, respect our elders, and be willing to forgive ourselves. Despite everything he experiences, Walter never becomes a rat like Jesse, who has no problem betraying other people for the sake of his own preservation or grudge he has. In spite of everything Walter does for him, Jesse continuously does the wrong thing. He hurts others, fails to protect children from his recklessness, and treats people unequally, and absolutely never holds himself accountable. So, if we're ever in doubt, we can always remember Jesse's original song. Fallacies, 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 fallacies. And as always, thanks for watching.